First off, for Charisma, obviously you're a game, returning after that missed game against Oregon State. First off, how are you feeling in terms of your injury? And obviously, it's a difficult matchup in your first game back. How hard is it to sort of jump back into game action against a team like Stanford?
Honestly, I was just really happy to be back on the court with my team. Just very grateful that I got the opportunity to play today.
The other way. It's better over there.
And then for Natalie, obviously you've been with this team for a few years now, and last year you guys used the Stanford loss to sort of jumpstart a run. I think you won 5 in a row after that point. What is it going to take from you guys to sort of turn things around once again?
Yeah, I expect nothing else in terms of response from this team like last year, and we're going to learn so much from this film, and then each game's going to be a battle, and we're going to be ready.
Hey, Charisma, I think there was a stretch of 3 possessions where you just went right at the defense and took a few jumpers. Do you feel that like sometimes you just have to put the weight of your team, weight of the team on your back, and just do what you need to do to get it done if it's just not collectively happening?
I think definitely just having an aggressive mindset. Like I always am thinking about that as well as getting my teammates involved. But I think we were in a stretch where we weren't really scoring, so I just tried to do whatever I could to get our team going.
And Natalie, you hit a couple threes to end the game, and you guys could have just packed it in, but that continues to show some fight. What can you say about that? Your mentality and what the team does, especially with not making excuses.
Yeah, I mean, Bruins never quit. I think our leaders today, Chantel, Riss, and Cam did a really great job of showing that we're not going to quit, and we'll never quit. And then we're a really mature team, so we're never going to let the score dictate how we play.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that want to just first give credit to Stanford. They're another team that makes no excuses, right? Haley Jones wasn't available tonight. They don't have really a true point guard, and they're doing it by committee. And I think that's what they have really, I think, been the gold standard of is just what that process looks like. And it's not about just what they show, it's just the consistency in which how they play, how they game plan, how they execute. So credit to them. I think the thing that our job is to invest, prepare, teach our players. Their job is to commit and do their job with the things under their control consistently. And we didn't do that. And really, challenge their character. And I thought that, Natalie's exactly right. I didn't think Cameron ever wavered. I mean, you look at even her stat line, it shows that. Chantel never wavered. Charisma. I thought Gina was really trying in huddles to try to lead us back to a better mental state. And they didn't do their part. The other people, we need to take responsibility for the way we did not show up for each other. And it's not about the adults. We're going to do the right thing because it's the right thing. And that's our job to role model that. But, man, they let each other down. And that we have to examine our commitment of what your competitive focus and spirit, what we can count on from each individual. So that's the part that's hard for me, is that, man, they are a really good group of young women, and I really respect how they have handled so much that's coming at them. But tonight, we have to take responsibility that we didn't have each other's backs, and that's hard to swallow.
Coach, you guys started out pretty hot, then unfortunately got away from you. You know, what do you have to do in the future to, you know, end games, stronger?
Well, I don't think you could pick parts in the beginning, the middle, the end. I think the reality, Mike, is that you got to execute. And I can't tell you how well, in this case, this is Coach Tony Scout. I can't tell you how much I admire our video team and our assistant coaches and how they prepare. And when I was talking about to the team, I said, do any of you ever go into a game feeling unprepared or unclear? And they were like, absolutely not. I feel like I have one of the best preparation staffs in the country. And that's what's so frustrating, if I'm being really candid, is that I don't think there's any question. If you asked every player on our team, what was the game plan going in? What were we trying to take away? How were we playing certain plays that they run? They would be able to tell you. So what's getting in the way of that? And that's the part, I guess, me as a teacher, I got to figure out how to connect those dots better. I have to be relentless in that. But they also have to take responsibility. I think they know. I think they're letting some noise, maybe a lack of confidence, maybe frustration, I don't know what, but get in the way from doing the next right thing. And you guys talk about it all the time. You hear me talk about this, that performance equals potential minus interferences. But maybe our potential with some of our challenges has gone down some, but our interferences don't have to. That's under our control. And that's my challenge as a head coach, right? Is to relentlessly try to connect those dots, be a better teacher tomorrow than I was yesterday. Ultimately, the buck stops with me, and I need to hold them accountable to their choices too, because that's part of teaching, mentoring, and equipping these young women. So it's both and. I don't really have a good answer yet, but I think the reality is that there needs to be a relentlessness for me to continue to teach, and maybe in new and different ways. The challenge is that I'm really really black and white, straight accountability person. You do it this way or you come sit down. And that's hard because I don't have that option. So the reality is that I've got to find ways to get to these young women and to draw things out of them that maybe they didn't even know they had. And I have to be, try to be a relentless teacher every single day. And that might look different, but I'm not going to stop trying. And they need to commit to not stop trying.
It seemed like, Stanford had that huge barrage of threes sort of end the first and into the second. And then start the second half, it seemed like we kind of relied on a bit more of a zone defense to maybe try to slow things down. What was the thought process going into halftime with the huge deficit, how you were going to slow down those threes?
I think chip away, you would think it's a little counterintuitive to think about that they gave up a lot of threes and now you're going to go to zone. But when you watch Stanford through the years, they are such a machine against player-to-player defenses. They don't have to make that many decisions, and their rhythm is really good. And they just were, if you're giving up threes versus your player-to-player defense, you might as well try something different. And the reality is they just weren't as in rhythm. There's a hesitation or one more pass, or they're just not practicing those shots as often. They weren't as clear. And quite frankly, the way they play their zone offense with Haley Jones in the high post, that gave us a little more freedom. She's a point forward in there. And so we felt like we had a little more options to spread the floor against the shooters versus the zone. And it worked. We needed to rebound a little bit better out of it. But I thought that was sort of the theory in that case. They're not as in good a rhythm, and they don't see it very much. So it's just, we didn't have anything to lose at that point. You know, we needed to disrupt rhythm in some way. And usually, you know, you would press more or you would do more, but we just have limited moments that we can do that, especially with all our limit restrictions and so our minute restrictions. So I think that's what we were thinking. I mean, they didn't do anything we didn't expect the first half to get off those threes. You have to focus on personnel. You've got to know what they're doing. They're a much actually easier team to scout this year because they're running a lot more hits. They're running a lot more, instead of their Princeton, they're running a lot more called plays. And you can scout those a little better if you're locked into personnel and if you go the correct way on the screens and if you know who you're guarding and what their tendencies are. And that's the frustrating part, is that we just didn't execute what we know to do.
And then even when you did, you know, have those, you know, sort of spurts of defensive dominance, I guess, your offense kind of stalled at those exact moments. I mean, I think we were all surprised to see Amari Thomas not take a shot until the final minute of the first half, and obviously Charisma is still working back from the injury and everything. But I guess just talk about your leading scorers not being able to have a lot of success, especially Amari with the shot attempts.
Well, you know, Imari's an incredibly versatile, talented young woman. She can really hurt things, but no plays are going to come to you against top teams. And you have to learn to demand the ball in certain catches. She's a fifth-year senior, and she is perfectly capable. We believe in her. She has got to, in pressurized moments, she's got to draw on her experience and her aggression level. I thought her aggression level was really low, and she needs to get that way up. And, you know, she's not going to make every shot, but she's got to shoot the ones that are open. And she's got to play at a tempo. Against a team like Stanford, if you play at a slow tempo, they are going to eat you up. They're going to sit back, playoff shooters, just sit back and get ready to get those defensive boards. And, Imari's going to have to learn from this. And so, she's got limited opportunities, and I want to fight for every single game that she can play at the highest levels. But she's got to fight with me.
Thanks, Coach.
What is sort of the emotion for you and Charisma? I mean, she gets carried off the floor a week ago, and being back in this game and knowing, you know, all the injuries that you guys have dealt with, but to have her back and what she did tonight.
I think, she showed incredible character. I thought, she made a choice. She's not 100%. She won't be the rest of the year. She has made a choice that she wants to fight through for her team, and she'll deal with how to get long-term healing after the season. And so, it just shows, I think it shows her competitive spirit. I think it shows her desire to be there for her team. I think it shows that, how much she loves this game. And she doesn't want to miss an opportunity to play and represent the 4 letters across her chest. And, she's a top 25 player in the country. As I'm not the only one saying that, everybody's saying that. So obviously it makes a tremendous difference, But it's interesting what happened to Natalie and Dominique when she wasn't in. And one of the things that you talk about connecting the dots, that I really want Dominique and Natalie, is just because Riz came back doesn't mean you can't be that same person, that aggressive person, that playmaking person, because they knew there were no other options. Riz wasn't there at Oregon State. They had to do it. And I think that that's something that they can really learn from this, is why was I different? What was different in my mentality? Was I waiting around for Riz to make that play? And I think that's going to be a learning point for them. Obviously, when you have a top player, you want them there, and you can strategize differently. I really didn't know what I was going to get. It was very hard to game plan because we didn't know until this afternoon if she would for sure play. And so we were going through all these protocols. She didn't go through a full practice at all. Even shoot around was the first time she went up and down since that had happened. So, I think she'll continue to get better. It won't be perfect, but I think she'll get more confident too going from there. But I think it shows tremendous competitive character.
Any other questions?
As usual, thanks everybody for your time. We appreciate it. And, it's a great conference, a great team, and thanks for telling the stories.